Question 1. Through careful analysis of a newly retrofitted office complex, ISTA, a certified indoor environmental consultant, notices elevated CO levels despite the HVAC system running continuously. The building uses demand-controlled ventilation based on occupancy sensors, but staff complaints about fatigue and headaches persist. The BMS shows compliance with temperature and relative humidity targets. What should ISTA prioritize in investigation? A. Investigate possible outdoor air damper malfunction and compare with ASHRAE 62.1 minimum ventilation rates. B. Recommend increasing the heating set point by tuning to stimulate airflow. C. Conduct an IEC survey focusing on VOC emissions from carpets and furniture. D. Replace occupancy sensors with CO sensors to automate ventilation. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Elevated CO levels and occupant symptoms suggest insufficient outdoor air. ASHRAE standard 62.1 mandates minimum ventilation rates based on occupancy and space type. If outdoor air dampers are malfunctioning, even running system can underventilate. While VOCs may contribute to IEC, the core issue here is ventilation adequacy. Adjusting temperature does not address ventilation, and replacing sensors doesn't resolve potential mechanical faults. Question 2. When considering indoor sources of ozone, which of the following devices is most likely to contribute to elevated indoor ozone concentrations that could pose a health risk? A. Activated carbon air cleaner. B. Electrostatic precipitator. C. Dehumidifier with desiccant rotor. D. Photocatalytic oxidizer using UVC light. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Photocatalytic oxidation (PCO) units using UVC or UV alike can generate ozone as a byproduct, especially if not properly designed. Ozone is a known respiratory irritant. Electrostatic precipitators can also generate some ozone, but typically at lower levels. Carbon filters and desiccant dehumidifiers do not produce ozone. Question 3. As illustrated by a renovation project in a multi-zone educational building, Castillo noticed certain zones are constantly under negative pressure, drawing in unfiltered air through door gaps. The HVAC system includes a VAV configuration with centralized return. What is the most likely contributing factor to the pressure imbalance? A. VAV boxes are oversized for the classroom zones. B. Central return is inadequately balanced for the exhaust system. C. Supply fan curve was not matched to return fan performance. D. The building lacks dedicated return ducting from each zone. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. In VAV systems, improper balance between supply, return, and exhaust airflow causes pressure imbalances. Central returns may struggle to accommodate exhaust ventilation, leading to negative pressure. Oversized VAV boxes could reduce comfort but wouldn't cause pressure issues. Matched fan curves and return ducting are factors, but secondary here. Question 4. Taking into account a situation in which several employees in a law office report recurring fever, chills, and a non-productive cough, Optiming is hired to evaluate the indoor environment. He finds a humidifier system using stagnant water in the HVAC unit. What condition is most consistent with these symptoms? A. Asthma exacerbation. B. Hypersensitivity pneumonitis. C. Sick building syndrome. D. Upper respiratory infection from allergens. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Hypersensitivity pneumonitis is often caused by inhaling aerosolized organic antigens, such as thermophilic actinomycetes or fungi from contaminated humidifiers. Symptoms mimic flu but recur with exposure. Unlike SBS, which is non-specific, or asthma, this involves an immune-mediated response. Question 5. From a practical standpoint, what is the most appropriate method for identifying the presence of formaldehyde in an office environment with recent particle board furniture installation? A. Real-time PID sensor measurement. B. Passive sorbent batch with DAH cartridge sampling. C. Smoke pencil and visual inspection. D. Bolometer flow measurement. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. DAH 24-dinitrophenylhydrazine. Cartridges are the gold standard for formaldehyde detection through passive or active air sampling. Real-time PID sensors lack specificity for formaldehyde. Smoke pencils detect airflow patterns, and bolometers measure air volume, not chemical concentration. Ref. Nyash Method 2016 and EPA Compendium Method to Lavina. Question 6. Given the circumstances, Mr. Trent, an HVACR indoor environmental consultant, is hired by a landlord to assess an IEC issue, but during his investigation, he finds evidence of asbestos degradation in a tenant-occupied apartment. The landlord instructs him to omit this from the report to avoid liability. What is Mr. Trent's ethical and legal obligation? A. Omit the findings and remain loyal to the client. B. Notify the landlord, only keeping it off the official report. C. Include the finding in the report and notify authorities if needed. D. Recommend second consultant to verify before documenting. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Consultants are ethically and legally obligated to report hazardous conditions like asbestos, especially when they pose occupant risk. Omitting such findings violates EPA disclosure laws and ASHRAE's Consultant Code of Ethics. Reporting protects the public and maintains professional integrity. Question 7. With respect to the filtration of PM.5 particles in a hospital waiting room, which of the following filter ratings would be most appropriate according to ASHRAE standards? A. MERV 8 filter. B. MERV 11 filter. C. MERV 13 filter. D. HEPA filter with 95% efficiency. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. ASHRAE 62.1 and 170 recommend a minimum MERV 13 filter in healthcare settings for PM.5 removal. MERV 8 and 11 are insufficient for capturing particles equals 2.5 microns. While HEPA is ideal, it's typically reserved for surgical or critical care areas. Question 8. Under the assumption that a mold remediation project is underway in a school building, Barrios is supervising the containment zone. She installs a negative air machine connected to the containment enclosure to ensure proper negative pressure. What additional measure should she verify? A. Interior pressure is equal to the surrounding area. B. Air from the machine exhausts back into the building. C. The containment has manometers or pressure gauges. D. No filtration is used to ensure maximum flow. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Monitoring pressure with manometers ensures the containment area maintains negative pressure relative to surrounding spaces, preventing contaminant migration. Exhaust air must be filtered and directed outside. Equal pressure or unfiltered exhaust violates IEC protocols. Question 9. By evaluating the degradation of polyurethane-based materials in high-temperature indoor settings, what hazardous chemical is most likely to be released? A. Benzene. B. Toluene disocyanate EDI. C. Methane. D. Lead oxide. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Polyurethane degradation, particularly in high temperatures or fires, releases isocyanates like TDI, which are potent respiratory irritants and sensitizers. Benzene is more associated with combustion of fossil fuels. Methane is unrelated to polyurethanes, and lead oxide relates to old paint. Question 10. Examining the consequences of oversizing a dehumidifier in a residential basement retrofit, Lynn finds the unit cycles frequently without maintaining TARC-RH. What is the primary IEC concern associated with this setup? A. Excess ozone generation. B. Inadequate VOC filtration. C. Reduced mold control due to short cycling. D. Elevated co-levels from humidity sensors. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Oversized dehumidifiers short cycle, failing to maintain consistent RH, which promotes mold growth. This undermines IEC goals. Ozone and co-issues are unrelated. VOC filtration depends on separate filtration, not dehumidifier function. Question 11. During the process of a pre-renovation assessment in an older library, Mr. Caldwell performs an infrared thermographic scan of the ceiling and exterior walls. He notices anomalies indicating temperature differences but finds no visible water staining. What should be his next course of action? A. Use smoke pencils to verify air leakage paths near anomalies. B. Drill a hole to release any potential trapped moisture immediately. C. Perform invasive moisture meter verification at cold spot areas. D. Replace insulation immediately in those locations. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Thermography identifies temperature anomalies which may be due to moisture, but verification with a moisture meter is essential before assuming or proceeding with invasive action. Drilling or replacing without confirmation risks unnecessary damage. Smoke pencils check airflow, not moisture presence. Question 12. In light of recent developments, multiple office workers in a newly furnished workspace report dizziness, headaches, and difficulty concentrating. Istel State suspects chemical exposure. Which chemical class is most associated with these neurological symptoms in newly finished indoor spaces? A. Carbon monoxide from faulty gas appliances. B. Volatile organic compounds, VOX, from new materials. C. Ozone from high-efficiency photocatalytic cleaners. D. Lead dust from ceiling renovation debris. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. New furnishings and building materials can release VOX, e.g. formaldehyde, toluene, that cause neurological effects like dizziness and impaired cognition, while CO and lead are harmful. The described symptoms and context point more to VOX. Ozone also causes respiratory irritation rather than neurological effects. Question 13. To illustrate this point, a multi-tenant apartment suffered a plumbing leak which was not dried for 72 hours. Bianchi is asked to assess IEC risks. What is the most pressing concern after this type of water intrusion? A. Microbial growth and spore aerosolization. B. Structural integrity failure of wood framing. C. Dust mite colonization from high humidity. D. Increased ozone concentration from surface treatments. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Water left untreated for 48 hours fosters microbial growth mold bacteria. This introduces IEC hazards through spores and mycotoxins. Structural damage and dust mites may occur, but microbial growth is immediate and critical. Ozone is unrelated to untreated leaks. Question 14. The foundation of a strong IEC consulting practice includes thorough documentation. Which of the following is most critical when writing a final report for a mold remediation project? A. List of all affected tenants. B. Description of HVAC efficiency ratings. C. Summary of moisture sources and post-remediation verification. D. Names of all workers involved in the cleanup. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Final IEC reports must clearly document moisture sources, containment steps, remediation performed, and post-remediation testing or clearance results. This supports legal defensibility and protects occupant health. Tenant and worker names are not essential unless legally required. Question 15. Contrary to popular belief, a sealed combustion furnace in a home may still present IEC hazards. Mr. Russo tests a new unit and notes that, during operation, the ambient CO level rises from 2 ppm to 4 ppm. Which of the following should he suspect? A. Air infiltration through duct return in the attic. B. Heat exchanger crack or venting malfunction. C. Improper blower motor speed causing low air change. D. Refrigerant cross-contamination with combustion. A. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. A rise in indoor CO during furnace operation strongly suggests the compromised heat exchanger or flue venting failure, allowing combustion gases to mix with supply air. Other options might affect comfort but would not cause CO increase. Question 16. Throughout the course of an IEC evaluation in a daycare center, Mr. Levine identifies recurring allergic reactions among children, particularly during morning hours. What allergen source is most likely responsible in this setting? A. Lead dust in windowsills. B. Dust mites embedded in carpeting and soft toys. C. Mold from HVAC coils. D. Carbon monoxide from school buses. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Dust mites thrive in humid environments with carpets, bedding, or plush items. Common in daycare settings, they are potent allergens, especially in young children. CO is hazard but not typical allergen. Mold and lead may be risks, but less directly linked to morning-only symptoms. Question 17. In the modern context of IEC assessment, Mr. Zerman needs to determine airborne particulate concentrations during a commercial renovation. Which instrument is most suitable for differentiating PM.5 and PM levels? A. Light scattering laser photometer. B. Gravimetric sampling pump. C. Smoke tube. D. VOC badge sampler. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Laser photometers can provide real-time PM data with size differentiation, allowing assessment of PM.5 and PM exposure. Gravimetric methods are precise but not real-time. Smoke tubes assess airflow only. VOC samplers are irrelevant for particulates. Question 18. The growing trend in commercial IEC retrofits is the use of variable refrigerant flow (ERF) systems. ISTA recommends one for a low-load office complex. What IEC concern is most often associated with improperly commissioned ERF systems? A. Excess ozone emission from inverter drives. B. Poor ventilation due to lack of dedicated outdoor air system (DOAs). C. Degraded refrigerant quality impacting filtration. D. High co-emissions from variable condensers. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. ERF systems provide excellent zone control and energy savings, but they often lack sufficient fresh air unless paired with DOAs. Without proper ventilation design, CO and VOCs can accumulate. Ozone, refrigerant degradation, and co-emissions are not typical concerns. Question 19. With the advent of increasingly humid climates, ISTA Beltran evaluates a building with visible surface mold but no apparent odor. What does this indicate about the microbial state? A. The spores are dormant and non-toxic. B. The colony is inactive and poses no health threat. C. Mold may be actively growing even without odor due to species differences. D. The issue is likely due to chemical off-gassing, not mold. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Mold odor depends on microbial volatile organic compounds (MVOCs), which vary by species and conditions. Absence of odor does not mean absence of growth or health risk. Some fungi grow silently but still release spores and allergens. Question 20. Among the various factors affecting IEC in restaurants is Ibrahim notes backdrafting from the water heater during kitchen peak hours. What is the most likely cause? A. Undersized combustion air intake. B. HVAC thermostat malfunction. C. Dirty evaporator coils. D. Frequent door openings from customers. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Strong kitchen exhaust without adequate makeup air or combustion air intake causes building depressurization, leading to backdrafting of combustion appliances. Thermostat or coil issues affect performance but not pressure. Door openings cause brief, not sustained, pressure shifts. Question 21. Given the circumstances, Isa Patel inspects a commercial building with recurrent wall condensation despite adequate HVAC humidity control. The walls have exterior vapor retarders and interior paint finishes. What is the most probable cause of moisture intrusion? A. Improper placement of vapor barrier causing condensation within wall cavities. B. HVAC system overhumidifying indoor air beyond design limits. C. Air leaks through door seals causing moisture ingress. D. Excessive indoor plant transpiration raising humidity. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Improper vapor retarder placement can trap moisture in wall assemblies, causing condensation within cavities, even if HVAC controls humidity properly. Vapor retarders should be placed on the warm side of insulation per building science principles e.g. ASHRAE Handbook. HVAC applications. Overhumidification and air leaks contribute, but are less likely given adequate HVAC control. Plant transpiration is minor factor. Question 22. When faced with a mold remediation in a heavily contaminated warehouse, ISTA Gomez must select appropriate PPE. Which combination offers the best protection against mold spores and mycotoxins during demolition? A. Half-face respirator with P filters and nitrile gloves. B. Full-face respirator with HEPA filters and disposable coveralls. C. Surgical mask and cotton gloves. D. Dust mask and regular work gloves. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Full-face respirators with HEPA filters protect mucous membranes and respiratory tracts against spores and mycotoxins. Disposable coveralls prevent cross-contamination. Half-face respirators offer less eye protection. The surgical masks and dust masks are insufficient for hazardous mold. Question 23. In the absence of visible mold but persistent musty odor complaints in a school classroom, what is the best initial sampling method to confirm microbial contamination? A. Bulk sampling of carpet fibers. B. Air sampling using spore traps during occupied hours. C. Surface swab sampling of HVAC coils only. D. Passive dust sampling with settle plates near windows. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Air sampling with spore traps captures airborne spores in real time and during occupant exposure, providing a representative assessment. Bulk and surface swabs provide localized information but may miss airborne contaminants. Passive settle plates are less sensitive and more prone to contamination. Question 24. Based on the information, Mr. Hernandez evaluates a building where occupants report eye irritation, dry throat, and headaches during prolonged occupancy. No single contaminant exceeds limits, but multiple low-level VOCs are detected. What is the most likely cause? A. Combined irritant effect of multiple VOCs causing sick building syndrome (SBS). B. Allergic reaction to dust mite antigens. C. Elevated radon gas exposure. D. Carbon monoxide poisoning from combustion appliances. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Sick building syndrome involves non-specific symptoms caused by combined low-level exposures, VOC mixtures, low ventilation. Allergies or radon typically produce different symptoms. Co-poisoning causes severe systemic symptoms and can be fatal. Question 25. In response to a conflict of interest scenario, Ms. Franklin discovers that her client, a property developer, asks her to downplay IEC findings to secure a lease agreement. What is the best course of action according to ethical standards? A. Refuse to alter findings and disclose the conflict to the client. B. Alter the report as requested to maintain the business relationship. C. Ignore the request and continue work without documentation. D. Refer the client to another consultant to avoid conflict. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Professional ethics and codes. E.g. ASHRAE Code of Ethics require honest reporting. Concealing or altering findings endangers occupants and violates legal standards, possibly causing liability. Transparency and refusal to compromise integrity is mandatory. Question 26. When evaluating a residential basement with radon levels of 8 percil, what is the most effective immediate mitigation technique recommended by EPA standards? A. Sealing all cracks and openings in basement walls and floors. B. Installing an active soil depressurization system with sub-slab ventilation. C. Increasing natural ventilation by opening windows. D. Applying radon-resistant paint coatings. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Active soil depressurization reduces radon entry by venting beneath the slab. Considered the most effective and proven mitigation. Sealing alone is insufficient. Window ventilation is temporary and unreliable, and paints have no proven effect. Question 27. Under the assumption that a gas water heater is backdrafting intermittently, what test should ISTA perform to confirm safety concerns? A. Measure CO levels near the appliance during operation. B. Check static pressure in ductwork. C. Monitor indoor RH fluctuations. D. Evaluate supply air temperature. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Co-monitoring near combustion appliances during operation directly detects combustion byproducts indicative of backdrafting or incomplete combustion. Pressure, humidity, and temperature are indirect indicators and do not confirm combustion safety. Question 20. From a practical standpoint, how should Thompson communicate complex IEC risks to a non-technical residential client? A. Use simplified language with analogies and visual aids. B. Provide full technical reports and standards for client review. C. Discuss only positive findings to avoid alarm. D. Refer client to scientific journals for self-education. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Clear, jargon-free explanations with relatable examples enhance understanding and empower clients. Technical reports are often confusing, and downplaying risks is unethical, and expecting self-study is unrealistic. Question 29. when analyzing IEC in a mixed-use building with ERF and split systems, which is a key ventilation concern, a lack of centralized outdoor air delivery causing inconsistent fresh air distribution. B. Excess refrigerant charge increasing IEC pollutants. C. ERF systems generating ozone indoors. D. Split systems causing mold due to refrigerant leakage. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. ERF and split systems focus on space conditioning, often without integrated outdoor air ventilation, which must be supplied separately. This can cause zones to have poor ventilation and IEC issues if not designed carefully. Refrigerant and ozone concerns are unrelated. Question 30. The fundamental question is which factor most affects accuracy when using real-time photoionization detectors (PIDs) for VOC screening in an indoor environment? A. Presence of interfering gases and humidity affecting readings. B. Calibration gas type used. C. Sampling height in the room. D. Time of day sampling is performed. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. PIDs can be affected by humidity and gases that either quench or enhance ionization, leading to false positives or negatives. Calibration and sampling protocol matter, but interference is the main accuracy limitation.